Hello, thank you for doing this.
Hi. Yeah, no.
It's the almost the end.
It
I'm
is. It's my day. It's my last day before uh for a while until
Yeah.
January, early January. So
Oh, I decided I'm not doing any more interviews for the rest of the year after today. So you're the second to last one. So there you go.
okay.
Under the
Okay.
wire. It's I always like when I see you in something because I feel like there's a certain type of actor or actress, right, that a director looks for, right? They come to you. There's something about what you do that they want, and sometimes the role's bigger, sometimes the role's smaller. But I always get the sense that a director like made an effort to cast you in something, and it can be something as different as In Fabric, right? Like an out there horror or
Yeah.
this. It's when how do you know something's right for you? Because I feel like so often the filmmaker comes to you and thinks you're right, but you have to also think it, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, with something like Peter Strickland, I actually wasn't familiar with his work.
Oh boy.
And my English agent sent me the script and said, "No, don't read the script. I'm going to send you a couple of his films first." So I
Oh
was
boy.
like, "Okay, then."
Yeah, why not?
I said, "But it's a bit late because I've already read it." And so he said, "Okay." I said, "Yeah, it's a bit out there, man." And he said, "Yeah, well, watch the film." And I watched Barbarian Sound Studio and I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
in."
Also, yes, he's out there. We've now established that.
Yeah, but you get the sense that you're going to have an experience.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're going to really discover something.
Oh yeah.
So
And you're definitely like it's on the one hand, I think you're definitely in service of a vision, right?
that's it.
Only that man could make that movie, right?
Totally.
Only in that way. And
Yeah.
that's a different muscle than like a Hollywood movie where it's like, okay, I this'll money will be okay and it won't be too long a thing. And I'm in service of something I know people are gonna watch on a Friday night.
Yeah.
It's more or less valuable, but it's a different muscle. So it is
Yeah.
always you when you show up in something because I do go like, okay, either the script is really good or
Mhm.
the direct like there's something about it. There's that sort of actor. And I think it's why this movie works like it does, because I think it so easily couldn't. Now, granted, Mike knows what he's doing, but the premise is so easily off-putting if you don't want to watch this person. And I
Right.
think you're willing to go to that length because you're looking for what the actual issue is. And I think how much of that is do you when you get the script sent to you, do you recognize or is it weird to get sent that and be like, okay,
Well, you don't get a script when you're working with Mike. There is no script, right? So you are. It's a leap of faith. You're really saying yes to the process.
yeah,
You're saying yes to, I don't know what I'm going to be playing. I don't know if this is going to be a good movie, but I'm going to be creating a character and working in an environment that's truly collaborative across the board: production design, costume, hair, makeup. It's all really collaborative. And that's what you say yes to.
oh yeah, and it's truly a character you've never seen before, let alone gotten a chance to play. It's such a high wire act because you need to make it so clear how brusque this person is and how hard it is to be in a room with them and how much no matter how nice someone is, there's always a point where someone goes, I'd like to end this conversation as quickly as I can,
Right.
but you have to still care about them and want to see the next scene. Like how do you find that obviously he's helping, but in the process, how do you sort of move the levers and figure out how to make it never seem not mean enough for lack of a better word, but also not so off-putting that why would anyone watch?
Well, the important thing to know in this case is you collaborate with Mike and create the character from scratch. So you know all their disappointments, all their heartbreaks, you know, every part of their life. You know it. And I mean, Pansy doesn't believe that she is too much or brusque. Do you know what I mean? So you just have to be true to that.
Oh
So you're
yeah.
not really monitoring, like, is this too much? Is this too this? I mean, you know, I've spoken about it before, but at one point I was literally like, my God,
Yeah.
you know, to Mike, I was like, this isn't sustainable. And he was like, more aggressive, angrier.
Yeah.
That was his,
Well, because
that was his answer to that. And I was like, okay.
and
You know,
and
but then he said, you know, if you stretch an elastic band and you keep pulling and pulling and pulling it, eventually it's going to snap,
yeah,
you know.
and I think that's where I think the intentional discomfort comes from, is because so many things are moments or interactions where most people want the exact opposite situation. Like, you know, with the dental hygienist, the idea of like being that rude but also expecting someone to handle you, you know,
Yes.
or even just the idea, like you said, she doesn't think she's being too much. She's like, how does everyone not act
Yeah.
this way to people? Because
Yeah.
how else do you get what you want? And we do kind of know these people, not necessarily to that extent. That's what makes it, you know, funny to the degree it's funny, but you do sort of know the person who everything is wrong, nothing's good enough. You know, my joke with my mom when she was alive was, you know, if I won the lottery, she'd be like, you got to pay taxes on that. Why would you have bothered? Like, there is
Okay.
there is that kind of person out there.
Yeah, there is certainly. And I think that's why I think it resonates with a lot of people because I keep getting, that's my mother, that's my mother-in-law, that's my aunt, that's my sister. You know, I think people recognize themselves as well. You know, some of the stuff that she says is true.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't necessarily have the same attitude to it, but you know, we've all walked into a store and been accosted by somebody wanting us to sign a petition or donate money. You know, how we deal with it um, might not necessarily be as aggressively as Pansy, but
Oh yeah.
you know,
That's where the acting comes in. Like, look, we just talked about it a minute ago. We're done. Like, we're ready to be done with things. But like, if this was her, she would have no time for this. It would just be,
no,
I can't. Why would you? How dare you? And that's just the difference of people is you can put that aside to go, well, I need to just get through this. And but I think that you, like you said, so many people recognize an element of that in her,
mm,
and that's what I think makes you willing to go with it until
mm,
you get the teensiest crumbs of like what might be going on. Because that's the other thing is, in a different movie, you would get the big scene, right? The big
yeah,
scene all revealed and everything's okay, or everything will be okay. But I feel like it's to the movie's credit that not only do you not get that, people's decisions or attitudes or conversation about why can,
mm,
like, there isn't even necessarily an explanation, more so than there's a, well, there is something. And that's good enough for a lot of people. And also, I imagine in a fun way, really frustrating for some people.
oh yeah, I think it is frustrating for some people, and I think that I mean, I've had a lot of Q&As whereby people say, well, you just tell us,
Yeah. You're like,
you know,
well,
where do you think she goes at the end and blah, blah, blah. And you know, my response to that always is, I talk about how much the actor has to trust Mike. I talk about how much he has to trust the actor, but I also think he really trusts the audience.
yeah.
He's really sort of like, these are intelligent people, and it's for them to take the gift that we have given them, discuss it, argue about it, and decide for themselves.
Yeah. Which is the fun part of, I talk to filmmakers all the time who will hear someone give a take on their film, and be like, I don't think that's what I made at all. But like, if you're
Yeah,
getting that out of it, I guess I also did make that. Like, no matter what movie it is, the filmmaker has an idea, right? Whether
that's
they'll
right.
ever tell you or not, there is an answer in Mike's head, right? But at this point it's not important. I didn't make a movie to tell you the answer. I made a movie to ask the question, and whatever answer you have, if you can rationalize it, you can pull from my movie. I think that actually what a great example also, right? If this had happened to Pansy, she would have lost it, right? The idea of,
Totally lost it in the middle of, you know, she's busy. And why are you knocking at the door if you hadn't told me that you're coming around? It's
yeah,
like unannounced.
yeah. And I think that's, at the end of the day, the reason the movie is resonating, because it is, Mike's stories are always simple, but
Mm,
this truly is, the one sentence log line tells you the movie you're going to watch. It's just you have to
mm.
be in it with them. I think it's just, at the end of the day, people also just want to watch an actor or an actress get a chance to, just every scene is a feast. And especially, when you are someone people recognize, right? And it's, oh, I've seen you in, and whether they mention The Cell or Spy Game or something where you're like, well, I have the most to do in that. But like, I'm glad you like the movie. Thank you that I have a career.
Yeah.
Be like 90 minutes worth of just you as the centerpiece. I think people respond to that. People love when someone they respond to gets to be the star.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah, no, it's a very satisfying experience.
and it's often, it's almost always a character actor who people have bonded with in something where ask 10 people, you'll get 10 answers about what the film or the show or the cartoon, whatever it is that they love. And I think it really is just special because you're so trained to look for the same 10 people and starring at everything.
Yeah.
And they're great. There's nothing wrong with them. But I think when especially a movie like this, when you focus it on who aren't you necessarily expecting or who haven't you seen before, it becomes so much better.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Mike is he's very particularly interested in working with character actors.
Oh yeah.
He's not interested in somebody who just, wants to play themselves almost. It's for him, it's about transformation, somebody willing to really transform and become that character,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
And he almost always picks people who he's worked with or you've seen, like I think Timothy Spall. There's a guy who like can do everything, like just
Mhm.
but and you're a great example of that too, is like it's only for lack of having been asked.
That's right.
And all you can do is when the opportunity comes, kind of knock it out of the park. And I think people respond to that. That's why it's such a, compared to some of the bigger movies in a race, it's a comparatively smaller movie, is getting this attention, is getting awards buzz. It's because people not only respond to the idea and see someone in it, they respond to who's in it and getting
Mm.
that. And I think it always feels more satisfying for a voter or an audience member when it's a character actor as opposed to, oh, we've given them 7 Oscars before. Like, you know,
Or they've been up 6 times, It's yeah.
yeah. So it's amazing. And honestly, you should just be so incredibly proud. And I actually can't wait to see what's next because I think so many filmmakers are going to go, how have we not hired her before?
Oh wow, that would be lovely. Do you know what I mean? It
There will
would
be
be really good.
more takes in your future, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And
Awesome.
transform again and again and again. That'd be
There we
wonderful.
go. Oh, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And you're so close to right now.
I know. I can feel it.